Drutter here. It's March 23rd, 2020, and today is day 8 of my coronavirus quarantine diary. I wasn't around yesterday to do a video, getting some other stuff done, but you can see my profile here for the past week of videos. So it is moving into the second week now of quarantine here. I've been out from the house a few times, but we are observing social isolation here in British Columbia. So this is a bit of news about what's going on here in BC, specifically just my part of the world, reporting and letting people know elsewhere what's going on here, and also a bit about what's going on personally in my life mixed in with the rest of the news. So let's get started. BC has announced, well, a couple days ago now actually, stay in your homes, and they're kind of now saying or else. So Trudeau, the Prime Minister, came out and said today, don't leave your homes unless there's absolutely an important reason to do so. So they're getting stronger and stronger about the wording. They're talking also about enforcement, and that may be coming tomorrow. So tonight might be the last time people are out and about doing anything, in resemblance of normal at all. Out and about on the streets and going to stores and things like that. That might be coming to an end for the foreseeable future. So we'll find out, I guess, in the morning. Here in BC, there's 13 dead now. It was none until just last week, and then it was 1 or 2, and then it was 9, and then now it's 13. So it's going up daily now, unfortunately. So that's to be expected. It's nowhere near numbers of somewhere like, say, Italy, but like I said before, we're only a couple of weeks behind their numbers. So unless we do things differently than they were doing a couple of weeks ago, they were still not in full quarantine a couple of weeks ago. So I think we still have a little bit of time, not to waste, but time to make it happen, time to do that. And it does seem to be happening here in BC. I did go for a walk today. The restaurant smells are not around in the neighborhood. The daycare, there's no kids playing out in the playground outside. It's quiet. There's people around, but they're avoiding each other. And it's different. I haven't seen that before in this little small town. It's usually a little bit friendlier than it is right now. People are scared. And today, the market crashed again on announcement of QE6. They're not even numbering them anymore, but they came out today and said, unlimited this time, unlimited. And there was a bunch of additional programs and interventions and things announced as well at the same time, all at once. So you could truly call QE6 to infinity and beyond, because, well, it is unlimited and there are many additional programs and interventions. So that's QE to infinity and beyond. We called QE3 to infinity at the time, I remember, but actually QE3 was more like QE ongoing. It was more like it was more like a QE2, but every month. Whereas now QE6 is way bigger than that, and it's ongoing, and unlimited as well. So it's just ridiculous. And a dollar created out of thin air this way is a crime against everyone holding another dollar. So trillions of them is trillions of crimes, you could say. It's unprecedented what's going on right now. And the ramifications of this will be felt for the rest of human history. This is unprecedented. This is history being made right now. It's not unforeseen. Many of us knew this was coming, but it absolutely is big news. All this stuff that's happening right now is huge. And like I said, the markets just crashed on that. They crashed an additional 3 or 4% today in Canada and the US. And more of that's coming, absolutely. It's not at the bottom yet. This has a ways to go, and it doesn't even really matter. These numbers don't matter. Even if those numbers come back, what really matters, people I think are starting to realize, is food and water and shelter and energy and simple manufactured goods like clothing and household items that we need to maintain some kind of quality of life. And those are the kind of things that matter. We've been functioning on some kind of fake economic system for a long time. And it's been getting increasingly fake over the years, to the point where in 2008 they had to completely take over and just basically start, they nationalized the entire economy, I guess you could say, in 2008. Behind the scenes, though, a semblance of a free market still going on, with remnants of what looks like a free market still happening here and there in pockets. But now it looks like that's over, and they're just, they're going to pack it in. It didn't work. The whole fiat thing didn't work from 1913 to 2020. It's a failure, and especially since 1971 when they closed the gold window and currencies around the world basically became 100% fiat and floating on, backed by nothing ever since. So gold today finally did budge. It had crashed a couple weeks ago when the rest of the markets crashed after QE5. Gold followed that, and I think that's because gold is being liquidated. People are selling off digital gold. But if you go to you can't go to the bullion shop anymore, it's closed, I'll get to that, but if you were to go to a bullion shop, it would be not filled with people trying to get rid of their precious metals at these prices. This is when people are buying, and a lot of people were buying before now. A lot of people that watch my channel, Drutter, on YouTube, for 12 years have been talking about gold and silver, and many of those people have been stacking it away, especially on dips, and they've been made fun of, and they've been ridiculed, and they've been said that they were wrong. And their day is about to come. Their day is actually here. We just haven't seen it make, the numbers on the screen haven't changed. But physical silver and physical gold are now real money again. People see that again. People look at gold and silver as money. And you can give someone a silver 50-cent piece or something as a tip, and they don't think of that as $6.50 fiat. They think of that as money now. They think of that not just as a coin, but as that has value because it's scarce and it's useful and it's rare, and that's what gives precious metals their intrinsic value. And so people's minds are changing a little bit right now, and it's in a time of flux. And like I said, bullion shops are closed, so we're not really getting physical price discovery right now of the precious metals. We don't know how fast it's going out the door, all that kind of stuff, because they're closed, and all we can see is online sales, and it's hard to see how fast bullion is going out the door because you can't look at the door. You're not really sure what's going on those online sites, and I've been told that business is wild right now for physical metal. People are buying up the physical metal and they're selling and liquidating the digital currency, the digital silver, digital gold, digital money, I guess you could say, but it's not. It's digital nothingness, and they're selling that off, and the real thing, bullion, physical metal, has dislocated in price, and that's something we haven't seen since. There were some shortages in 2011 and 2013 that I recall, but 2008 and 9 is really when the precious metal prices were last dislocating, and this might be the final dislocation now. This might be the last time that we price physical gold and silver bullion metal in hand the same as it says on the screen. That may be done now. So that may be a positive thing in a way, I don't know. The future is murky at the moment because everything's up in the air. And I think some people have an idea what's coming, and I think those people are about to tell us what's coming very soon. But the rest of us are just kind of trying to hope and hang on to what we know and trying to figure things out and just go from here. And we're kind of like I said, we're scrambling. And it's a state of emergency. Like I said, only essentials are allowed to be open now, and I guess they don't consider bullion shops to be essential. Coin shops and places where you can buy and exchange precious metals. So that's kind of scary to me, because if you can't, there's a lot of people that might want to sell or have to sell to get back into fiat currency. Say they've been holding precious metals and they're like, okay, I'm going to sell it to pay the rent or whatever, and it's time to do so, and all of a sudden this happens, and they haven't gotten to the bullion shop yet, and they're in trouble. How do they do that? There are ways, right? There are ways around these things, but the point is, gold and silver have been really, really, really removed from our lives over the past 100 years, now to the point where the bullion shops aren't considered essential. You can't buy or sell precious metals. You can't trade between the metals. You can't. A lot of people consider precious metal to be real money, and I'm one of them. And so basically, you don't have access to real money. You have access only to the fiat currency banking system, which is forced upon us by our would-be overlords in the government. But I don't believe that we can be forced to use private institutions like banks. I don't think anyone can make any other human do that. I think that we should be allowed to live free of a bank if we choose to. I don't think that that's weird or whatever. My grandmother believed that as well. She used a credit union, but only as she had to. She kept cash. She kept cash and gold at home in the house. Does anyone else do that nowadays? Awesome. Congratulations to my grandma. She had it right. She passed away a few years ago, and I'm happy about that, because this would be interesting for her. And then again, she might be able to handle this more than the average person, because she was born in the last Great Depression, and she grew up through this stuff, having to make do, having to ration food and medicine and supplies. That was her way of life for her whole first 30 years or whatever, and it changed her. She was a different person because of it, but she was an amazing, awesome person. And I don't think that, my son now, he's been born into this, and I didn't know this was coming. At this time, I always knew that things can happen with the world, and I've been helping getting people prepared for it for a long time. Now, as you may know, I had a surprise baby last year. He came to us in a surprise way. Katie was supposedly not able to have children because of the cancer and all the radiation she got for that all through her life. But the medication that she's on, which is cannabis, has healed her to the point where she was able to conceive, apparently. And that we decided to go through with it and keep the baby. And we are so happy that we have, because he is an amazing addition to our lives. But to have a newborn in this situation is frightening. Absolutely. I can see how other people who aren't emotionally prepared for this collapse to be happening are right now with a newborn are panicking. If that's you out there, or you know anybody like that, take care of yourself. This is a hard time for you. This is stressful, and your fear is legitimate. But I hope that you can find courage to overcome that fear. And you might just have to fake it until you make it for a little while, because it is a bit weird out there, and a bit weird everywhere, inside even, in our own homes. Things are changing. And just for all of you, anyone who's going through something right now emotionally because of what's happening, just hang in there, because it will get better. It's the first little while after something like this happens is the worst. So a lot of us are in shock. We are in shock because of our lives have just changed, and we weren't really given proper notice of that happening. Maybe no one knew it was coming, or maybe they chose not to give us notice, but this is a shock to a lot of people. And when that happens, that can have ripples throughout your physical health and your emotional health and your mental health. Everything all is connected, and you will feel different over the next little while. So take it easy on yourselves. Take it easy on each other if you can. Work on your nutrition. Try and work on your sleep if you can. Get proper sleep. I know it's easier said than done. Try meditation if you haven't before. Try it. It's actually legit. It's one of those things that does work, and it's powerful that people can do that themselves, and you can heal yourselves a little bit with meditation. It's not like magic or anything, but it's legit. It works. It really does help. And deep breathing, if you're feeling panicky or whatever, just focus on your breathing. Just take 10 to 20 slow, deep breaths, not fast deep breaths. That's hyperventilating. You want them to be slow. And we will get through this. Even if we don't have access to the internet, we still will get through this. Just let yourself adjust. It's going to could even be weeks for many people. Many of us will take weeks before we can feel normal. I had a few days there where I wasn't quite feeling right, and you could hear my voice, and you can even hear it now. It's just one notch up from where it normally is in terms of energy levels, I guess you could say. Agitation, anxiety, that kind of thing. It is there. It's there for sure. And we got to just keep taking care of each other and taking care of ourselves, and we will get through it. The first few days and maybe first couple of weeks are going to be hard, like I said. My physical health does remain stable. Like I was talking yesterday, or the day before now, I guess, yesterday, day before, something like that, about my own health, and whether or not I have this virus, I don't know. And I'll put a link below. You can check that if you're interested. But in short, my health is stable. I have a little bit of a dry cough occasionally, but it's much less frequent than it was in the past, say, 2-3 weeks. What else? My temperature's not spiking anymore. It was a little bit here and there, but not very high. a little tiny bit of a spike here and there up to say 38 and back down. And that's what I was doing. So not really sure, but there's no testing available. So the three of us, my wife, the baby, and I, are isolating at home. One of us goes out only if absolutely necessary to a store or whatever, and we wash before and after and all those, precautions and stuff like that. So we are making sure not to bring any of our germs out or anyone else's germs in. But we are low on food and medicine, so there are no funds until Wednesday. Disability is what we are waiting for, and people on disability have not been given an advance or anything, and so it's been a 35-week month for them, and tomorrow is day 34 of that 35 days between paychecks. And normally in between paychecks, people on disability are, scraping by just to get to that next monthly check, and because it's not a lot to live on. And so this month is even worse. And then now with this, we're told to have 2 weeks food in the house, but no one on disability or welfare or any of those other programs is able to buy anything. They haven't had food. They haven't had money anyway for food for a long time. So, I have my food. We ration well each month. We're good at this. And we do have food for the month. And the baby has food. We're okay for that. I always make sure of that for sure before anything else. But we don't have months storage. We don't. I know other people do have months in store of food, or of money at least. But that's not us. 2.5 years ago, we were on the street for various reasons. And so it's, we've been recovering slowly since then. But being both of us chronically ill, and now with the baby, that's been tough. So there is very little food and medicine in the house, and there's very little food and medicine on the shelves. And there's no money in hand until Wednesday. And tomorrow morning is a major announcement coming from Trudeau, apparently, about enforcing further social isolation. So I don't know how much further you can go past state of emergency and, quote, stay at home. But they're talking about enforcement, like keeping people in their homes. So I'm assuming that, in Italy, I talked to a friend, he said, no, we're not allowed out to the store. Not right now. It's total lockdown right now in Italy. So is that really what's going to happen here? Total lockdown? And if so, better not be starting tomorrow, because there's a lot of people, including the most vulnerable in Canada, that don't have any money and don't have any medicine or food in the house. So how are they expected to go through a quarantine of however many weeks or months with literally nothing in the house? It couldn't have happened on a worse day. The day before disability pays out. Anyhow, they're talking about, they're enforcing this no physical contact worldwide. And I was thinking, what are some implications of this no physical contact? One of them is no cash, right? How do you pay with cash online? That's why they made PayPal and crap like that, right? And then later on, now we have access to Bitcoin. But in person, how do you pay with cash? How do you pay other than in person? How do you? You don't send cash online. It's very hard to send cash in the mail. In fact, they make it illegal, so you have to really be sneaky about it. And then if it goes missing, that's your own fault kind of thing. It's pretty tough to pay through the mail. It can be done still, sort of, but it's pretty tough. Basically, there is no cash payment option in Canada. Wait, the world, because the entire world is all at once, for the first time ever, enforcing no physical contact across the globe. So for the first time in thousands of years, cash will not be in use at all, at any point or at any place on the planet. That's temporary, I guess. But is it? Because that's what a lot of people, including people in positions of power, have wanted for a long time, the cashless society. So, and they're already telling us it's an infection vector, that only criminals use cash nowadays, pretty much. And now this no face-to-face transaction thing, no face-to-face contact allowed, that just means no cash. It means other things too, but one of the things it means is no cash. And so where's that headed? We have to be vigilant, I think, to make sure that that's not permanent. My son, who's 6 months old, may never pay with cash. He may never pay with a private. He may never hand a coin to a shopkeeper. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not, but I think the replacement for it is basically digital slavery. He's going to have to be on a tracked chip, basically, a credit card or a debit card with a microchip. That I had hoped better for him. I had hoped that that wouldn't be where we're going to the future, but it obviously is. Clearly, we're going to a cashless world, and it may have just happened. It may have already happened. You may have paid with cash for the last time. I was doing a little bit of strategizing with funds and stuff like that, and I was thinking if I had some cash in the bank, would I withdraw that? And I was thinking, absolutely, I always do. I live a cash life. If there's anything in anywhere that's not cash, I make it cash right away, because then that cash is liquid and I can use that cash and I put it into things I need, like food. But I was thinking, wait a second, I might want to keep some of that as digital. Maybe I don't want it all in cash, because places are turning away cash right now. And I may not be able to find someone to take that again. The implications of that are strange. That may be the end of cash. We may have seen our last transactions with notes and coins. For better or for worse. Cash, of course, it is dirty. That's always been dirty. One thing you teach kids is after you handle cash, coins or paper notes, plastic notes, you wash your hands. But I guess we're just have to go to a cashless world where, of course, phones and devices and pads and things don't have any germs on them. No, of course not. Those are just as dirty. People don't take their phones into the bathroom when they're going to the bathroom. No. Phones are clean, and that's a good way to pay for things. That's a clean way to pay for things. Here, hand me your device. I'll just, or maybe just scan it and tap it. We'll get those chips so that we don't even have to have any contact, and you can just wave it in the air, or push a button, or think something. The future of payments. But like I said, that may be the last cash transaction that I did, and that you have done as well. It might be it. So I guess I'll leave it there. That was longer than I thought it was going to be. Thanks for watching, you guys, and stay safe, stay healthy, and tomorrow is day 9. See you then.